Okay, we got this 2010 Corolla here. Now, I made a video a little while back on how the cruise control wasn't working, so we did diagnostic on it. Turns out we had no continuity through the clock spring. So this is a clock spring, in case you haven't seen one before. It sits in behind the steering wheel airbag. This is obviously airbag here, and your airbag connections go through here. And then you've got your cruise control stuff that goes through here. So it goes through the clock spring and comes out the other side down here. What we're gonna do is just change that today. So it's fairly straightforward. I'm just gonna show you how I do it. I take no responsibility in anything you do with your airbag system. So first thing I'm going to do is disconnect the battery and wait 15 minutes. Tools that you're going to need to do this job include a light, that's optional. You're going to probably want a 3/8 drive ratchet along with a 19mm socket and an extension, a torque wrench that'll go up to at least 37 foot-pounds, T30 Torx, preferably something longer, or you could do like a shallow socket with an extension, and then 10mm wrench to disconnect your battery. And I have the steering wheel puller. This is actually for doing harmonic balancers on cranks, but I had a difficult time getting this off, so that's optional. You may be able to just get it off brute force. So I think that's it.
Small flathead screwdriver.
Yeah, small flathead screwdriver, don't forget that. Okay, so 10mm, should be 10mm anyways. I just take the negative off and tuck it down there where it can't come back up. Let that sit for 15 minutes. And then the first thing that you're gonna wanna do once the 15 minutes is up is, it's fairly simple. We're going to, I guess, turn the steering wheel just enough that you see there's little tiny rectangular holes that are there. And we use a pick to disengage the two claws. There's a claw on this side and there's a claw on the other side of the steering column covers. So it's just a two-piece cover. There's no screws or anything that hold it on. It's all clipped in place. But we need to disengage those two claws so that it releases and we can split those pieces apart to get them off. And then once we do that, that'll give us access to the connectors that plug into the back of the clock spring. And then we can go ahead and remove our airbag. Should be about 15 minutes by then. So I'm just gonna grab a small flathead screwdriver and a pick here. Okay, so I'm just gonna use this small flathead screwdriver. It's just enough to slip in there. See if I can do this first try. I'll show you the clip once I get it off there. So there's one, and then I'm just going to may have to have the key in the ignition turned on just to keep the steering column from locking. But like I say, I'll show you the thing once we get it off here. Okay, so oops. Try not to make a mess. You can see there's the claws there. So all you're gonna do is just go through the hole, and I push in and sort of up to get this whole section to disengage and then move up out of the way. Once that's off, you have the key out of your ignition. You can then slip this out. May get kind of caught up on the steering column adjustment lever, but once that's out, you can pull the top one off too. Like I say, no screws. It's very nice, quick, convenient. Next thing you have to do is remove this cover. There's a dummy cover right here. So same thing, no screws for it. You just slip in there with a little screwdriver, pop that out. And then, so in behind there, you're gonna find that there's a Torx screw. That holds the airbag in, so you can see there's one there, and then there's one on the exact same other side. And once again, the cruise control switch cover there's a cruise control switch on the other side, and then once again another cover, right? So get those covers off, unscrew those Torx bolts. They don't come all the way out, just loosen them off. There's like a plastic casing that sits around the bolt that keeps the bolt from falling out, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Just loosen them off, and then that's going to allow us to remove the airbag and undo the connectors. So I'm going to get these off. By the way, those bolts were T30 Torx. So now we can lift this airbag down a little bit. And once again, I'm going to use my small flathead screwdriver, and I will be very careful to disengage these clips without breaking them at all. You need to be very careful with this stuff. So they just pop up like so. And then I just slip underneath, pop these up. And then we have one ground strap here. You can just disconnect that like so. And that's also part of the airbag switch as well. So it will come off of the this, but sometimes they can be stubborn. So now we got the airbag off, out of the way, set that over somewhere that's going to be safe. Nothing's going to fall or spill on it, whatever. Now we need to get rid of the steering wheel. We need to get the steering wheel off. So fairly simple to do that. We'll just go ahead and grab ourselves a 19mm socket and loosen off the steering wheel nut. It is just one nut. That's it. Once we get this off, we can remove our steering wheel. And they're fairly simple to do on these Toyotas. You can try to wiggle them back and forth. There is a puller for them. Take my coat off. Came a little bit. Came a little bit. Okay, so normally I haven't had to do this. I pulled lots of steering wheels, but I'm thinking somebody else put it on super tight, so I'm using this puller. There we go. Broke the bond. Simple as that. This puller I have for actually doing crankshafts, or sorry, harmonic balancers on cranks, but this worked just fine. So hopefully you don't have to do that. Do the method that I was just showing you, where you sort of hit the bottom of the steering wheel like this and then just work it back and forth. I've had good luck. I've pulled probably 50 steering wheels doing that. So once we get this thing off here, we'll be able to just remove the nut that I temporarily installed. We can pull our steering wheel off. Remove this little die piece here. I put the nut back on just in case there was a chance of possibly damaging the threads at all. Then we'd have some saving grace on being able to get that off. I'll show you, it did put a little mark in the end of the stud there. but did not damage the threads whatsoever, not compromised or anything. Okay, so that's off. Now we can access the clock spring. This is the simple part. One connector for our cruise control. The other connector is for, you'll see there's a white, should be a white spring-loaded slide that you're just gonna pull. I think it's white anyways. Nope, sorry, I lied to you. It's yellow. But you'll just slide this piece over, go in this way, and then that whole connector comes off. This is for your airbags. Now once this is disconnected, we can take our clock spring off. There's just a couple hooks here. So one at the top, you just lightly lift up. Same with over here. And then one over here. So we can remove that now. Oh, I'm sorry, there was one other connector there. So one thing that I forgot to mention is, if you're keeping this, do not let it spin around a bunch of times and lose position. Just tape it up. I wouldn't mark it with a pen or anything like that, but just put tape on so it won't spin. That's if you're reusing it, whatever. I'm replacing mine, so you can see the new one has this breakable tab that keeps it locked in place until we install it, and then we can break that so that it will spin. I guess you could mark your steering wheel splines, because you can literally put it on like wherever you want, but we had it at 12 o'clock dead center, so that's all that really matters. Okay, now you may run into this. This looks different than this one. Now, as you can tell from all the greasy hair and stuff that's on this is the one we took out of the vehicle. It has a steering angle position sensor, where this one does not have that. So we need to transfer this onto here. And it's very simple. This whole unit that sits in the center stays screwed together. Those 4 screws stay in place. We don't take those out. You can see the little white drive teeth. That so the clock spring will drive that white piece of plastic, and that tells the position of where the steering column is for the computer, blah, blah, blah. How we're gonna transfer this, very, very simple. We have 6 plastic tabs. So we got one here, here, 2 on this side, and 2 back here. So we just need to go in with a flathead screwdriver and carefully, actually, you know what? We can just break these because it's not going back together. So, I mean, you can just break them if you want, or just be careful if you want, up to you. And then we'll just transfer this over to here and push it into place. It just clips in. There's no wiring or plugs that need to go together. And then once we get that together, we can get it onto our vehicle. So, just gonna move this over here. I guess the important thing here is that we do not, we don't break the steering position sensor. Okay, so I'm just being gentle with that. Make sure that that stays centered. There we go, now they both look the same. I can just hang out there. We'll install this onto this one. Make sure that all of our clips are engaged. Everything looks good. And now we're ready to go put this on the vehicle. We can then install this thing like so. plug our connectors back in. And we can just go ahead and break this now. And then we can go ahead and put our steering wheel back on. And I'll go get a torque spec for the nut. Okay, so we're gonna torque down this nut now to 37 foot-pounds. That's what Toyota wants. Once again, 19 millimeter nut on there. Perfect. Now we're ready to go ahead and install our airbag. Just go ahead, grab this here. We can make all of our necessary plugs here. We get this thing kind of close. One plug's going to go into the bottom of the cruise control switch. Just tuck this stuff out of the way. And then the other plug's going to go into the clock spring. This might take a second here. See if I can take this off. I don't know, she's on there pretty good. There's a little tang, but... Okay, so if you look down there, there's a little tang. You just have to use like a flathead screwdriver or your fingernail and push down on that tang to release this. There's just a little hole or a little slot in there. So that really helped. I'm just gonna go ahead and install this cable now without the airbag and stuff hanging on there. If it's too much of a pain, you could take the screws out and remove the switch and all that stuff and do it that way. It'd probably be much easier. So now we've got that. We'll go ahead and I'm going to install this. You can hear it click. Very good. And now black to black and orange to orange. Oops. You hear it click there. Now, these little yellow guys need to get pushed down. And that means that they're locked in place. Everything's in there, snug. Make sure your wiring's looking good. We can set this back on here. And now we can tighten up our screws that go into the side to hold the airbag in place. Remember, they are still in the plastic sleeves, so should be all ready to rock and roll here. I couldn't find a torque spec for those bolts, unfortunately. I'm sure there's a torque spec somewhere. Yeah. Just nice and snug. Now at this point in time we could, oh, that's a little off center. I may remove that and check that fit. I don't like that. Once you get this on, you can I would say before we put the cover on and stuff, I would then put the battery back up and just check the operation of everything. Start the car, make sure that everything's working before sticking that cover back on. Just in case you had any issues, you'd be able to see it. So. I'll just tighten them down consecutively at the same time. Yeah, maybe that's just the way this is. I didn't really pay attention to the pad, steering wheel pad, so maybe that's
it looks good now.
Just the way it is. Yep. Yeah, man. Okay, I'm gonna hook up the battery and let's see. Okay, we've got our battery hooked back up. I'm just gonna turn the key on. You see the airbag light over here? We just wanna see that prove out or shut off after it does its self-check. Like I say, we're here for the cruise control issue, so now I'm gonna have to take this thing for a drive. You can make sure your horn works. Horn works, that's cool. But yeah, I want to take it for a drive, make sure that our cruise control works. You can see when I push the button, the cruise control light comes on now. It did not before, so very good. I guess I'll show you putting the covers on. Just in case, these covers can be a little bit of a pain. I like to set the top one in first. It just slips down under. There is a couple claws. I don't know if you can see that very well. Right, those little claws at the top there, they just clip onto this, the top of the steering column. Very, very simple design. And then this, you'll see your adjustment lever slips on there, right? And then you just have to watch because you've got little tabs that stick out on the top panel, and they need to sort of engage in around these pieces here. So just make sure everything lines up before you go ahead and press it together. These pieces of plastic are they bend very, very easily. So yeah, you just need to have patience and make sure you get it done right first time. Okay, we can hear them all engaged. We can just look at our fit and finish, make sure that around your light stock and your wiper stock, those look good. It's not out of shape. And then the last thing you can do is just turn your steering wheel. And if you listen, you shouldn't have any rubbing contact of any kind between that panel and the back of the steering wheel. If it's off at all or it's something's not right, you'll hear it every time you turn. It'll be rubbing plastic, and that's no good either, so you don't want that. But looks like that's pretty much it, besides these covers that we got. Now, the longer side here, I guess, goes on towards the back of the steering wheel, I think. Yep. And the other side's pretty well self-explanatory. You're gonna have the bottom rearward position of the vehicle, something like that. They just clip in nice and easy. So I'm gonna take this thing for a drive, just make sure everything's cool. And that's it. If you got any questions, throw them down in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see more content, and we'll see you in the next one.